Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my newest patron, Paul H. Thank you for choosing to support the channel. First up, we have a fun way to kick off your weekend, a prime example of Tesla setting itself up to have many super fans for decades to come. Here we have a video shared. Originally, it came from Autoline. They compiled some data, and it shows us that Tesla has indeed crossed a major milestone.
Last week, we ranked the top car companies in the world by car sales. Then someone in the comment section said, we ought to show them ranked by revenue. That is, how much money they bring in on the top line. So here goes. VW and Toyota are in a class of their own. They're in the more than $200 billion a year club. Then about $100 billion behind them comes a middle group, surprisingly led by Stellantis, which is now the third largest car company in the world ranked by revenue. After that, you come to the group that hasn't quite cracked the $100 billion ceiling. And we were surprised that Hyundai's on that list. It hasn't done that yet, and that's surprising considering it's number 4 in the world based on how many cars it sells. And looky here, Tesla will probably surpass Nissan this year, and it already sailed past Renault, even though Tesla sells less than half as many cars as they do.
So yes, in terms of unit sales, Tesla should crack the top 10 by the end of 2023 relatively comfortably. However, Tesla is already in the top 10 in terms of global automakers when it comes to sales by revenue. However, as we know, the goal is not to get to 10 and then rest. The goal is to get to number 1. So realistically, when can this happen? Now, stick with me through this because this will lay out a path to $3,000 per share in the not too distant future. Now, yes, I say simple in terms of mathematically simple. I know that the actual execution underlying all of this happening is wildly difficult. However, Tesla has proven that it can pull it off. And remember that Volkswagen was in the top spot for 2021 in terms of sales by revenue at $276 billion. So when can Tesla take that spot? Well, in 2021, Tesla did $53.8 billion in revenue. Now, all of the yellow are just estimates. And here we're assuming 70% growth. For 23 and 24, we bump it down to 50, Tesla's given projections. And then in 2025, I bump it down to 40 just to be a bit more conservative because there's still some uncertainty around the next gigafactories, and Wall Street, of course, has some hesitation in terms of Tesla being able to keep up its 50% growth rates. I personally don't have any doubts at all, but I like to be a little conservative. And as you can see, there is a very clear path for Tesla to be doing $288 billion in annual revenue by 2025, which would have them at the number 1 spot in terms of global automakers sales by revenue if Volkswagen were to stay steady. Now, you can argue that they won't. However, I don't think it's a guarantee that they're just going to continue to increase overall sales because they're going to be losing plenty of sales from its ICE business. And when you really boil things down, in my opinion, the bottom line or net income is more impactful when it comes to stock price than just the top line when you're looking at revenue. And this right here will turn out to be a simple walkthrough that you can actually do with friends, family members, or coworkers who may be skeptical about Tesla's valuations now and into the future. And I want to drive this point home. You do not have to have a detailed financial Tesla model going through every single line item that it reports in its financials to actually have a simple walkthrough that's going to get you to a logical price target for Tesla in the future. Why? Because once again, it boils down to the top line revenue and the bottom line net income. Now, using that framework, we have Tesla's revenue for 2021. With that, they generated $5.5 billion in GAAP net income, or a 10.3% net income margin from the revenue it brought in. So let's fast forward to 2025 and we can bump Tesla's 10.3% net income margin from the top line revenue for last year up to 18% in 2025. Now, to be clear, I definitely think it can be higher than this, but let's stay somewhat conservative. That would mean with Tesla's projected revenue in 2025, it would generate $51.9 billion in bottom line GAAP net income. So of course, $50 billion in annual profit in 2025 is not too shabby, but let's put it into context. Now, for Tesla to reach $3,000 per share, that would be a $3 trillion market cap, not factoring in any share splits or any other changes in the outstanding share share amount. So if you take that $3 trillion market cap and divide it by Tesla's earnings in 2025, which we have projected at 51.9 billion, that would give us a future PE ratio in 2025 of 58. And for further context, let's look at Tesla stock and the PE today. Tesla stock trading around $900 today. That gives us a PE ratio of 184 using the trailing 12 months earning per share of $4.90. If we annualize Tesla's Q4 earnings per share, that gives us a 12-month forward PE for Tesla of 110. Remember, the valuation model we just walked through would put Tesla at a PE of 58, significantly below both of the PE ratios we just went through currently for Tesla stock. And if we plug in a conservative median earnings per share estimate for 2022 of 15, that would put Tesla at a 12-month forward PE of 60, right in line essentially with this 2025 PE of Tesla at a $3,000 per share stock price. And so from here, you have to ask yourself the question, well, at this point, do you think Tesla is undervalued? I think a lot of us would answer yes, and the answer is yes with a forward PE of 60. So if Tesla has a PE of 58 in 2025 at $3,000 per share, could it also still be undervalued then, because Tesla will still have huge growth implications as it shifts to more of an AI, FSD, software as a service type company? My answer would be a resounding yes. And the main driver for me going through this is because lately, I think too many people are focused on 2022 and 2023 for Tesla stock, mainly because that's all Wall Street really focuses on and builds their projections for. I'm personally more in the ARK Invest camp, looking at the 3, 4, 5-year time horizon, especially because that's when these two new factories are going to be finally hitting their stride and ramping production. So if you ever need a quick and dirty, but also logical and reasonable explanation of Tesla reaching a $3 trillion market cap, hopefully you can use something like this. And there you have it, a simple path for Tesla stock 2025 to hit $3,000 per share. Some quick data on Megapacks. This was a new record level that was seen at Giga Nevada. However, he said the current individual price at the time was $1.433 million each. However, he then updated that, saying that since he tweeted it, the Megapack in California has increased by $104,850 per unit, or a rough 8% increase. So not just Tesla cars that are seeing these price increases. Here we have Tesla Shanghai back in production being reported from the ground, and Reuters added the Shanghai factory restarted its 2-shift production from 7 a.m. local time to run around the clock. Just a quick note here, something to be aware of for the Giga Berlin event. Tesla opponents apparently want to demonstrate out front of the factory. The authorities are concerned about the safety of Elon Musk. Hopefully those fears are overly exaggerated, but apparently some citizens want to demonstrate with 3 environmental groups with their motto, "Save our drinking water, don't buy a Tesla." If you're somebody that likes watching the drone videos from Shanghai and Berlin, we have some not so great news. This was shared. Flights are now restricted in Shanghai, and they've been informed they will not be allowed to fly in the parking lot, claiming there are trade secrets. If the area is de-recorded, there's no point in filming. Can someone help me communicate with Tesla to try to get permission again? And shifting to Giga Berlin, someone has also had their flight permit revoked due to apparently a breach of trust. Now, hopefully we don't lose privileges at Giga Austin, because they are really fun to watch every now and then. So all of you drone pilots out there, just be aware and be careful. And real quick, it's Friday, so let's have a look at Tesla and the markets, but I want to show you something different today. So Tesla on the week up 15.2% so far today for a great week. And listen up, I think this is one of the most underutilized tools when it comes to making your investing decisions. Now, yes, I know a lot of you are just 100% into Tesla, and that's great. I have been doing that as of late. However, if you're deciding like Tesla or Bitcoin or Tesla and X other investment, just remember you can usually look at the pairs for those two to see how they're oscillating against each other. For example, right now, my primary investing decision is Tesla stock or crypto, Bitcoin, ETH, Cardano. So a big part of how I actually make those decisions is looking at the pair between Tesla and Bitcoin. So all this ratio really is taking the stock price of Tesla, dividing it by the price of Bitcoin. And that's gonna show you over time a ratio of how they move against each other. And the red line is, you got it, the 200-day moving average. So when this is going up, that means relative to Bitcoin, Tesla stock is increasing. So at these highs, or when we're extended from the 200-day moving average, that would be a time that you'd want to buy Bitcoin, because Tesla relative to Bitcoin is high, and at some point we should see compression back to the 200-day moving average. And from this high point, which was January 2022, Bitcoin has actually been outperforming Tesla stock to the tune of about 30%. So to sum it up and make it simple, anytime this specific pair is, roughly at or below the 200-day, that would be a good time to buy more Tesla relative to buying Bitcoin. And once again, on the flip side, if it's extended from the 200-day, that could be a better time to buy Bitcoin relative to buying Tesla. And you can do this with almost any pair that you would be interested in making these decisions for. But remember, as I just explained earlier in the video, super bullish on Tesla stock. So if you're just 100% into Tesla, absolutely nothing wrong with that in my opinion. That'll do it for today. Please like the video if you did. Hope you guys have a wonderful and a safe weekend, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.